Hi, to continue the discourse on the multi-layer wall, now that we know how to add them, modify them, change connection, how to actually create your own. First, you will need to go to the Add, Architecture, and in the type of shell you wish to create. Let's here add a wall. And here simply create a new wall. You will first give the name. It's the name of the wall as it will be listed in here. We will see that there is two different kind of name, as we can see in the one for the one in the background. We have the wall name, the one here, and the shell name, which is the name of the element added in 3D. So here we are going to create a basic 2x6 wall with inside sheetrock, OSB sheeting, and then simply some strapping on the outside. So let's call that 2x6 closed. Now that the wall is made, you see, first it's only available in the 3D file you've added that one in. We will see that once finalized, if you wish to be able to use it in other file, basically other file connected to your current user profile, we'll simply need to glide it down. So let's create the wall. So here, first is the wall setup. Is it a multi-layer wall or a simple wall? Simple wall is closest to what we had previously in Cadwork, so it's simply a shell, so we don't have any information about layers whatsoever. So it's simply an element with a name, a color, a material, a thickness, and a height. We are not going to use that here and simply add here a multi-layer wall instead. Before adding layers, I'm just going here to change my shell color and material to show you what this is about, because this is actually not linked to the layer whatsoever. The thickness of the wall can be 0. Okay, so let's just cancel that. So here, if I were to hide my layers, this is the color of the element. So in that case, my wall was white, and the material that was used here might be undefined. So the material undefined, which is a see-through material without any weight added. So all these material that we are going to use here, of course, can be added, modified, and managed directly in your material presets. So let's add back here our layers, switch back to my previous graphics setting, and let's go back to the wall and continue where we left out. So first here, I wish to assign a color. Let's go with dark green. The material that is going to be assigned here depends on the color selected. As you know here, when you set a material in 3D, you have the possibility here in material and color to link specific material to specific colors. Let's say that here I would like to create a new color with the undefined material meant for my wall. I will simply here make sure that I display all available colors and simply look here for my undefined color and glide it to the color I wish to use for that wall. Let's use here color 17, for example. I'm just going to reduce the list again. Yep. And here, orange, actually color 17, not orange, and undefined. Of course, here you can always change the material if you don't have any link set with the selected colors, of course. Here you see that the shell thickness is grayed out, meaning that it will actually automatically be generated based on the layer you're going to add. So here, let's add our basic layer, so the structure. So here, we're just going to call that STC, for structure. And here, same, we can assign a material. Let's go with SPF. It will then be shown here in the preview, and you can, if you don't have yet the material available, you can still open here to create a new one or edit any existing ones. The thickness here will be 5.5. And we are going here to add additional layers. Panels. So this will be the inside sheetrock. Actually, I'm going to call that inside layer. Go here with sheetrock. Going to be a inch. Add another panel here for the shading. Outside layer. Going to be OSB. OSB. 0.5 as well. And here then, I mentioned earlier, a strapping. You see here that you have also a air kind of layer that you can add. All these layers are taken from the IFC norm. So everything that we create here, of course, is compatible with IFC at the export and also the import. All that strapping. And that will be as well as made out of SPF. And that will be a quarter. Oh, there we go. Bye. So here we have the final thickness. But here, as you can see here, my wall buildup, of course, is not, I did not create the layer in the logic order, because here we have the reference side at the top. In my case, I want needs to be the outside of my wall. So here I can simply drag my layer and change their order. If I wish to have the reference side on the inside, instead of gliding them all, I will simply here click on Mirror Layers. Once your layer setup is done, you have here the shell height, which is the default height that is going to be used when adding the wall. But as we've seen in the previous videos, this is a value that can be changed when adding the wall in. So this is simply nothing more than a default value. It's not something fixed. Then here we have the shell type. So we have 3 different shell type: framed wall, solid wall, mostly used for CLT and SIP panels, for example. And then we have the log wall. So here then we have the reference axis. By default here it's set to 0, meaning that it's actually at the same location as the reference face. So if we don't touch anything, we are going simply to add the wall by the outside of the strapping layer. If you wish to change that, you can here set a value, either positive or negative value, and this is going to push the reference inward or outward, meaning that your reference, if needed for whatever reason, could be on the outside of the wall itself. Let's say that we want to add it based on the side of the slab or anything like this. You have the option here, shell layers, and the one that I used in the previous wall that we used in the previous videos was the layer list. When you do so, it simply generates the reference as an actual layer. And here to move it, you simply need to glide it down. And here I'm going to keep it at the same location as in my previous wall, between the framing and the shading. The other thing here that is interesting to know about the reference axis is, by default, this line is at the bottom of your wall. So when you add your wall, you actually draw the bottom of the wall. But if needed, you can actually add a Z value, which allows you simply to have the reference axis above or below your wall. So if you use a positive value, your reference axis will be above the bottom of your wall. And if you use a negative value, it will be below your wall line. So let's just add this wall in. Let's just go here from this side, Y, all the way to the other side. And here we have a new wall with the different, of course, layers. To continue here with configuring your wall, you should now go without checking the attributes. This simply allows you to assign specific attributes by default to your wall. It could be the group or the subgroup. The thing is, you know that when you use the element module, for example, or if you are used to export wall shop drawings, you know that walls are differentiated by group or subgroup. This means that every single wall in your project is going to be assigned with a unique group or subgroup according to your settings. Here, in our default setting, we actually generate a unique group to differentiate our wall and the element within. What we can do here is 2x6 closed. We know that this should be always an outside wall. So what we could do here is, for example, in the subgroup, we can go and fetch an existing subgroup, let's say exterior wall, or by clicking here the 3 dots, you can simply create a new one. You can here, of course, assign every single attribute you have in your file, from Cadwork basic ones to user set attributes. Thank you for watching this video, and again, keep tuned for the following videos where we are going to look more into like attributes, and mostly when we generate the layer element with a specific function that was added back in version 2025. And for the following videos, we are going to look a bit more with some information about the element module as well, and then IFC and shop drawing export. Thank you for watching.